Welcome back to New Orleans, Louisiana. The Seattle Seahawks, a long trip across country. Of course, that's generally the story for them about every road trip. Pete Carroll in his third go-round as a head coach in the NFL, a year with the Jets, 3 years with New England in the late 90s. And after 9 outstanding seasons at USC, the head coach in Seattle. We know about Matt Hasselbeck. We'll keep an eye on him all day long. And on the other side, Sean Payton, missing so many big weapons, not only those three on offense, but Darren Sharper as well as Malcolm Jenkins on defense.
Well, and that's the challenge for Sean Payton. We talked about it in the open. They're very confident in their ability to make a run back into the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl, but they got a lot of folks missing. You always got to win at home, and this is a division leader they're playing.
Leon Washington among the best in the NFL. Returning kick. Seattle won the toss, elected to get the football. So Garrett Hartley approaches the pigskin at the 30, puts the right foot on it, and we are underway. Washington from the goal line. Up to the 22. Matt Hasselbeck enjoyed his best game of the season last week in Arizona before suffering a cracked bone, a pair of them in fact, in that left non-throwing wrist in the first half. He did not start the second half, but returned for the third possession. And up front, nice to have Russell Okung, the #1 pick back at left tackle.
It is. This offensive line has been shuffling all year long, but this is the best group they have. They haven't had them in this form in quite a while.
Pump fake one way, Hasselbeck comes back the other way. And read beautifully by the safety Roman Harper. Danny Clark there on the tackle as well. Third ranked overall defense in the National Football League. Cedric Ellis leads them with 4 sacks, healthy again and playing well. Clark in his second go round with New Orleans, and in the secondary they're beat up.
Yeah, they are, and they need to come up with some of the turnovers where last year that was the key to the success. They've fallen off the mark with turnovers this year. They'd love to get a couple today.
It'll bring up third down and long right from the start for Hasselbeck. Well, what a game he had last week, injury and all. 22 out of 34, a season high 333 yards. Threw a touchdown, did not throw a single interception. Third down. When Seattle wins games, they're very good on third down. When they lose games, they are extremely poor on third down.
And this down and distance, a third and long, is a tough one to crack against this top-rated New Orleans Saints defense.
Down the middle of the field looking for Dion Butler. They had him open and Hasselbeck could not connect. The coverage by Jabari Greer. 3 and out, nothing new for Seattle offensively.
And that's been part of the issue. That's why they've been so mercurial, up and down. 3 and outs will kill you as an offense. I like the fact they were so aggressive with that throw down the field, but they're going to have to convert on some of these third downs against this Saints defense.
So now John Ryan will punt from his own 10. Lance Moore continues to replace Reggie Bush returning punts. And a fair catch at the 37-yard line. Well, here comes Drew Brees in his 10th year out of Purdue. What an unbelievable run he has had for the Saints since becoming their starter, leaving San Diego in 2006. Julius Jones, a former Seahawk, will get to start at running back. We'll see a lot of Chris Ivory.
And as much transition as the Seattle Seahawks offensive line has been, that's how stable the New Orleans Saints offensive line has been. This group has been in this form the entire season.
And just about every down last year. Set up a screen to Heath Evans. Nice play made by Aaron Curry, fighting off a block and then coming up with a tackle. Curry coming off a game where he had 2 sacks in that win over Arizona a week ago. They're short along the defensive line without starters Red Bryant and Colin Cole. Lofa Tatupu healthy again and playing very, very well. And in that secondary, Earl Thomas, a rookie.
Yeah,
no interception.
New Orleans would love to keep these 4 DBs of Seattle on the field, not their 5, 6, and 7 DB package.
Play fake to Liddell Betts, and then batted down at the line of scrimmage.
And this is where Seattle gets so dangerous, is with this nickel package on this down and distance. That's when they're their most creative. Their standard front is fairly standard, fairly predictable, but when they get into this 5, 6, and 7 DB package, they get very, very creative.
Under pressure, Liddell Betts depends on the measurement. A nice tackle made by the rookie Earl Thomas. It looks like he might be just short of a first down.
Great tackle by Earl Thomas, and this is one where you're going to see right here as he works across the field. This is where you see the missing element of a Reggie Bush or Pierre Thomas. Okay, that explosiveness, you get that ball, that same type of throw to that more explosive back. I'm not sure we don't have a third down conversion here, but when you're doing with the Heath Evans or the big tight ends that they have to deal with now, they're just not quite as efficient, just not quite as explosive.
Well, they bring out the sticks for a measurement. And once they tug on that thing, they are that much short. Brian, would you go for it close to midfield, your first possession of the game?
Now, you know, I know you're at home. I know you have faith in your offense, but I got to see if this Seattle team can move the ball against my defense. I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to pin him down inside the 20.
Well, Drew Brees still standing in conference with his quarterback, Sean Payton. They're thinking about it. They're going for it.
Well, this is confidence. We saw one last week when Pete Carroll on the road turned to his offensive coordinator and said, "Can we get it?" I don't know how you not answer that. "Oh, no, coach, we can't get a 4th and 1. But Sean Payton's known for this. He believes in his offensive line. We just talked about this is a group that's been intact. It's big, it's physical. And even though they don't have a Reggie Bush, they got some big physical backs with Heath Evans coming out of the backfield to lead them. They're going to have confidence in this call.
Well, they're in the I formation. Evans in front of the tailback, Chris Ivory.
Well, I don't know that you want to be checking on a 4th and inches. They were just trying to draw him off sides.
It almost worked.
Yeah, it did. That almost got him.
Offense, 5-yard penalty is still 4th.
Now, Brandon Mebane jumped but didn't make contact with anybody. Was able to get back across to his side of the football. So Sean Payton now sends out his punt team. Many felt Reggie Bush would be back and ready to go this week. He's missed the last 8 total weeks, including the bye, after breaking a fibula in the game at San Francisco week 2. And of course, Reggie having a chance to shake hands before the game and visit very briefly with his college coach at USC, Pete Carroll. Leon Washington, a fair catch at the 18-yard line. So Seattle gets it for a second time when we return to the Big Easy. Matt Hasselbeck directs the Seattle offense and hands it off on first down. Strong running straight ahead by Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah. We've talked about Matt Hasselbeck and the injured left hand. Watch what this does. He did not take a live snap all week long. That is painful. Look at the way he has to hand off with his right hand. That's difficult to orchestrate. You have to change your entire way that you approach something as simple as taking a snap and handing the ball off.
Second straight carry for Lynch. Not much success this time. The first man to meet him, Alex Brown, his first year with New Orleans after leaving Chicago as a free agent during the offseason. That was a good pickup, Alex Brown.
Yeah, it was, in terms of what that was able to solidify the inside. The other component of Matt Hasselbeck, particularly in this down and distance, if you get sacked and you come down on your left side, you instinctively put your left hand down. He's going to have to land on his shoulder, and that's scary.
They're down in 7. They pick up the blitz, and that is Dion Butler, depending on the spot. He appears to have enough for a first down. He does, up to the 30-yard line. First third down conversion early on today for Seattle.
Yeah, and those are going to be key. They've got to stay out of those longer down and distances. They brought Marshawn Lynch in to add a physicality to their running game. It's got to show up in a game like this on the road in the dome, if for nothing else, to keep you in those convertible third downs.
Of course, Justin Forsett, a big factor last week in Arizona in the run game. This is Forsett. He was going to pitch it back to Hasselbeck, but it was bottled up by Will Smith. And then coming in to make the tackle was Anthony Hargrove.
This is a great play by Forsett, because I want you, this was a little pitch back pass, double pass. I want you to watch what happens as Forsett steps up to throw back. Stop right there. He sees this is not good. This has got disaster written all over it. Even though it's a negative play, he just saved the team from possibly a turnover. Right here, Russell Okung knows he's got to run Will Smith up the field. That was a good non-play by Forsett.
Pump fake, they're going for the long ball again, and this time they connect on it. Williams streaks down the sideline, is caught at the 10-yard line. Second time they've thrown the long one today. They missed on Butler, but not with Williams.
And this is not typical of Williams on the outside. He is not a speedster. You expect these deep balls to be jump balls, but he got a good double move. This one's simple right now. It's please, Lord, don't let me drop this, because this is as wide open as I've been since I came back into the league. Hasselbeck knows you need these big plays. Seattle's not been a big play offense. This puts them in scoring position on the road. It's huge.
Stretching out, it looks like the leg of Mike Williams. He went to the sideline after that 68-yard reception. Lynch, not much room, maybe a yard. Of course, Mike Williams broke his finger, Coach, a couple of days prior to the Arizona game. Came right through the skin, requiring stitches.
I want you to look at this. This thing is nasty. The bone came through it. What Pete Carroll will tell you, what he was most impressed is Mike Williams came back to practice the next day. He said the old Mike Williams might not have done that. The new Mike Williams was on the practice field the next day. That told his teammates a lot about where he's at right now.
Catch by Carlson, the tight end. He's down to the 2.
Boy, you love the big tight ends down here inside the 10-yard line. Carlson's a bit of the forgotten man. He's a 50-plus catch guy the last few years and is on pace to a degree. But Michael Williams has become such a focal point for this passing offense. I think you're going to start to see Carlson become more and more a factor, particularly with Michael Williams on the sideline.
3rd and goal. Back corner of the end zone, had an eye on Butler. It looked like they had Obamadu open. A step inside the end zone.
Let's go back and look at Williams down the field. Like I said, he's not a speedster. He's not used to this long striding. And right here, when you get caught up like that, all of a sudden your left leg gets caught in a very uncomfortable position. Hopefully that's maybe a bit of a cramp. It can get stretched out. You hope the season this guy's having, he's not off the field with a hamstring.
Melinda Murray hit 5 of 6 field goal tries in the win over Arizona last week. Bad snap. But able to take care of business was Ryan to get it down, and it's good. 3-0 Seattle in front. Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans. Mike Williams still being looked at by the Seattle medical team. As soon as we receive any kind of update on his condition, we'll pass it along. But it's 3-0 Seattle here in the opening quarter. The Seattle team humiliated in back-to-back losses against Oakland and the Giants, where they were outscored 74-10 before putting 38 on the board in Arizona last week to jump in front in the NFC West. The Saints get it for a second time, trailing by 3. A gorgeous look at the Superdome in New Orleans. What a fabulous job they have done rebuilding this city and this venue ever since tragedy hit. Hurricane Katrina, of course. Who could ever forget the images from those dark days in this city?
We've been back here a number of times since then, Tom. It's been fun to watch the growth of this city coming back.
Such great people in this area. Chris Ivory's first carry. He's a strong runner. That's a gain of almost 6.
Got a fascinating matchup today here, Tom. Pete Carroll and Sean Payton have a great deal of respect for one another because Reggie Bush came from Pete Carroll's USC. They've matched up many times. We've got a no huddle here. This is a nice change up for New Orleans.
They fake it to Ivory, and Breeze all day to throw. Looking down the field, it's incomplete. He had an eye on his tight end, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, Pete Carroll and Drew and Sean Payton have a great deal of respect for one another. When Reggie Bush came to the Saints from USC, Pete Carroll was drawn into this program, had a lot of conversations with Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll says this is why I came back to the NFL. These types of matchups, the mental aspect of the game, the strategies and tactics of the game, pitting myself against a great coach like Sean Payton.
Of course, Reggie Bush won a national championship with Pete Carroll. He won a Heisman Trophy with Pete Carroll as his head coach. But then, of course, recently, in the 75 years of that award, Reggie Bush had to give the Heisman back. Catch made across the middle to the tight end, David Thomas, and that's a first down up to the 36-yard line.
I said earlier that the tight ends needed to be big in this game. Not only Thomas, but their young draft choice, Jimmy Graham. Without Shockey, without a Reggie Bush, they got to rely on these tight ends, particularly in this intermediate area. Utilize that size. Drew Brees has a great deal of faith in both of his tight ends, Graham and Thomas.
First down, they pitch it to Ivory. He leads all rookies in the NFL in rushing yards, and you're getting a look at why.
It was interesting to see Reggie Bush. Sean Payton watched intently on Reggie Bush. He looked pretty good. He had good explosion, but you can see right here, just the subtle hint of a limp. And afterwards, he had to have that tough conversation that you do as a head coach, saying, I know you want to play, but here's the reasons why I can't let you back on the field. You can see the disappointment in his face.
Second down, Breeze to Lance Moore. And the undrafted free agent out of the University of Toledo, their second leading receiver, has a first down up to the 48-yard line. Moore has been a great story. Undrafted despite a prolific career in the Mid-American Conference. And after spending a couple of seasons on their practice squad, had the breakout year in 2008 when he led them in receptions, battled through injuries last year, but healthy again and playing well this year. Julius Jones in the Seattle territory to the 47-yard line. Some of the early games, Green Bay hammers Minnesota 31-3. The Redskins have just beaten Tennessee in overtime. Baltimore a big win. Dallas its second straight win. Some of the games over in the AFC, the Jets rally late to beat Houston by 3. And the Steelers getting back on track, leveling the Oakland Raiders. Meacham on the end around, and that's a first down run to the 37. Headline act Ryan Fitzpatrick with Buffalo throws for over 300 yards in a huge second half. Another big day for Maurice Jones-Drew and Greg Jennings. 152 receiving yards in that Packer win. And of course, what now with Brett Favre, Brian Billick?
Yeah, going to be an interesting question as to what his future is with the Minnesota Vikings, what they choose to do at that position.
First catch of the game by Marcus Colston. That'll be a gain of 3 to make it 4 to the 34-yard line.
Now you talk about Brett Favre and the Minnesota Vikings. Up to this point, there's been no question. You can't not play Brett Favre. But But with this loss to the Green Bay Packers, if indeed they are out of it, they've got some tough choices, Brad Childress and the Minnesota Vikings do, as to what do you do with the Brett Favre. Does Brett say, you know what, I know we're done. Let's go with the guy that you may have to go with next year, Tavares Jackson. These are the tough decisions ahead of Minnesota.
Ivory looking for a hold. Took on a big hit, stays on his feet, very close to a first down. Ran right over Marcus Trufant.
This is the type of physical run game that Sean Payton desperately needs out of Chris Ivory. He's very complimentary about this guy. He thinks he can be his guy. I don't know whether he really believes that or whether it's because he's got to have that. Seattle's got a guy down, Trufant. We'll come back. Hopefully they cannot afford to lose him.
They continue to take a look at the injured Marcus Trufant. He'll be replaced by the rookie out of Oregon, Walter Thurman, number 28. Third down and less than a yard. Ivory. Well, that kid's alone. Still on his feet. And run out of bounds at the 5. What a very impressive runner out of Tiffin, Ohio, is Chris Ivory.
How often do you see this on a 3rd and 1? Right here. Stop right there. This is a 3rd and 1. It's all bunched up. How in the world do you come out of that? But that's exactly what this young man does. Bounces to the outside. How often on a 3rd and 1 do you see a big play like this? Everybody is bunched in there to stop the 1 yard, and you give up 20 yards instead.
The 24-yard run by Ivory. And in the red zone, they've not been very good. Ivory to the end zone. Did he get there? Looked like he was unable to break the plane. Ivory goes 6 feet, 222 pounds, an undrafted free agent.
How often do you see that story? This looked like it was going to be one of those scrums where everybody's pushing from behind, pushing and pulling, gets him into the end zone. Unfortunately for New Orleans, he didn't quite go with the crowd, got stopped. This is where Seattle is under a lot of pressure. They're not a big physical team, and down in here, Kentuan Balmer, one of their bigger players. The loss of Red Bryant really hurt this team. Looks like he's going to be okay, but that lack of size has hurt Seattle and may hurt them here. Typically, this would be a great play action down for Sean Payton, but with Balmer out, the undersized Seattle front, I got to believe they're going to pound this thing in.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. And over the top and into the end zone is Ivory for a touchdown.
This is nice, boy. You get everybody's on the goal line. Is just turning into submarining one another. Now I'm going to get some height. All I got to do is break the plane. Touchdown. That's all I need to do. Nice job. You got to get good air. You got to have a lot of confidence to stick the ball out there, knowing that if the thing gets knocked out, you better cross that plane.
What a start for Ivory. Point after is good by Garrett Hartley. 6 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown for the rookie Chris Ivory. And Matt Hasselbeck answered. First time in person, Brian, we've seen young Chris Ivory. Man, is he impressive.
He is. He brings that physical presence that the Saints were missing when they lost Pierre Thomas. If he can add that to them on this final run to the playoffs, Sean Payton will have gotten just what he needs to recreate that magical balance they had last year on a Super Bowl year.
Leon Washington fields the line drive kick and brings it up to the 30-yard line.
This young man, I tell you what, beyond his size, 6'5", 240 pounds. I want you to watch this, Tom. People at home, try to do this. This was his. He did this for about 20 minutes. Bounce it up, and look at the way he's grabbing the ball like an NBA player getting ready to dunk the ball. It takes big, powerful hands to do that. And by the way, he's got a broken finger.
I can't do that with a tennis ball. Hasselbeck to throw it on first down. Great protection, and again looking down the field, and Obamanu goes up to get it to the 28-yard line. You're talking about a Seattle team that had so few explosive plays, 20 yards or longer, all year until last week.
Yeah, we've seen 2 deep balls down the rail. They obviously see something in the secondary of the New Orleans Saints. This is more, of course, the jump ball. You'd expect that to a Mike Williams. Obamanu doing a nice job of judging up, going up and coming down with the ball. 2 big plays to put him in scoring position.
Well, they clearly are picking on Jabari Greer very early on here. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet to the 25-yard line. Let's send it to Kurt Menefee standing by in Los Angeles, our first game break of the day.
Washington's Graham Gano missed a 47-yarder at the end of regulation, but had redemption in overtime. Good from 48 out, and the Redskins win in OT in Tennessee, 19-16. Tom and Brian.
Of course, Philadelphia and the Giants will be getting together.
How big is that game?
Oh, yeah.
It's all getting real now.
Second down and 7. Boy, they're protecting Hasselbeck beautifully, and Marshawn Lynch can't handle the pass. 3 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Seattle has to feel pretty good about where it is right now, Brian Billick.
They do, but you know what? They need 7. You know, to only come away with 3 on that last drive. You'll take 3 if that's what it turns out here. But at some point, to keep up with this Saints offense, you got to get 7.
And a timeout will be spent by the Seahawks.
Matt Hasselbeck had to do that. They had too many people heading into the huddle. You don't want to turn a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 13 or a 3rd and 12 with a 5-yard penalty. So he very smartly used a timeout. So far, we're not seeing the effects of the hand right now, Tom. He's been able to handle the ball, thrown the ball. Again, keep in mind, this guy did not take a live snap all week long.
Yep.
He's handled the ball without incident in terms of handing the ball off, getting it down the field. The real test is when he gets hit and goes down to the ground and comes up. How is he going to be when he comes up? That's the concern. So far, it hasn't been an issue.
It also hasn't been an issue that he's not felt any pressure so far for this very good blitzing New Orleans defense.
I think we're seeing the effects of a Russell Okung at left tackle back into the lineup. This is a special young tackle.
Looking for Williams in the end zone. He's out of bounds. So that will be the final play of the opening quarter. A good quarter indeed. 7-3 New Orleans. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages. Orlando Mare to try a 43-yard field goal on this opening play of the second quarter to bring his team within a single point. And that's hammered right through. Well, Mare has been money for Pete Carroll's Seahawks. It's a 1-point game. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world watching today's telecast of the NFL on Fox on AFM, the American Forces Network. In 175 countries and abroad, 140 ships at sea. We're proud to have all of you with us and want you to know we stand behind you as you defend our freedom. And here in New Orleans, the National World War II Museum. Well, what a spectacular venue that is. If you ever had a chance to come down here and check it out, would be highly recommended.
Well, this is a classic stack package. You look at here, Seattle in the rushing yards, but it doesn't matter when you hit 2 big explosive plays. It balances off. They need to get that rushing game started, but the balance that you see in New Orleans here is key. That's something they're going to want to maintain.
Pete Carroll's team, the leaders of the NFC West. A lot of people have snickered at the NFC West and the way those teams collectively and individually have played so far this season. Bottom line is, Brian, like we said last week, somebody's going to win it. and somebody's going to host a playoff game.
Yeah, you don't care how you get in. You don't care what division you're in to get in. You know, once you're in, you're in. And have been well represented once they've gotten into the playoffs with teams like the Arizona Cardinals who went to a Super Bowl.
Fair catch. Back of the end zone, and they'll get it at the 20. And we talked about that World War II museum. It opened in 1991 by historian Stephen Ambrose, and then opened in 2000. The 56th anniversary of the Normandy invasions honors all the amphibious invasions of World War II. And what a great place to learn so much about the Second World War.
Mr. Benson of the Saints was a big part of having that museum here in New Orleans. Deserves a lot of credit for the interest and the notoriety that he's bringing to that great venue.
Drew Brees and the Saints back on offense. Great protection, and then tipped at the line of scrimmage. It brings up second down.
This is, they were trying to take a shot down the field, and this has been the thing that has been missing out of the New Orleans Saints compared to last year. Last year they were 4th in the league in explosive plays, Tom. That's plays of 20 yards or more. They're 28th in the league right now. I think that has to do with the fact that because they haven't run the ball real effectively, they're seeing more passive coverages that make it difficult to get those big plays. Hence, Sean Payton wants to get that running game cranked up.
So interesting to talk to so many of the so-called experts out there. A lot of us in the media certainly get charged with this as Ivory continues to run through tackles, and he'll fall down finally to 27. That'll bring up third down. But it's interesting talking to guys who are down there in the trenches. Sean Payton, a well-known offensive mind, has been for many, many years, and he'll be the first to tell you, man, we need the run game back.
Well, what did he tell us? Quarterback's best friend, two best friends, a good defense and a good running game. And Drew Brees, who's obviously having a solid year, is falling on his shoulders. If they can't run the ball, they're committed to try to get it cranked up. And the way Ivory's running, they'll continue to do so.
How about that? A third down and 3 run. And Ivory bounces it to the outside and then runs over a would-be tackler at the 35. He just punished Jordan Babineau at the end of that run.
That's just the kind of commitment to the run I'm talking about. A Sean Payton running on a 3rd and medium. Look at that stiff arm. The physicality of Chris Ivory. There was a slight wry smile to Sean Payton's face when he was talking about Chris Ivory, because it's not just running the ball, it's running the ball with a physical presence that Ivory gives you.
He carries 58 yards for Chris Ivory. And Julius Jones gets the football. And he's wrapped up. Going to be a loss of 4. Jones began the year, of course, with Seattle. Spent the last 2 years there. And after they made the deal to acquire Marshawn Lynch, they cut him loose. New Orleans picked him up prior to week 6.
Well, and that gives them the 1-2 punch of the big physical Ivory and Julius Jones, who's a little more outside. Not unlike Seattle with Marshawn Lynch. He's the between the tackles guy. Forsett is the guy that can bounce it to the outside. That's what this league's about right now. A 1-2 punch at the running back position.
Brees under heavy. He did a dangerous throw. That was nearly picked off and brought back the other way by Roy Lewis.
And this pressure, this is unique, just 4-man pressure here. Normally it takes a linebacker and a DB for Seattle to have gotten home, but they bring good pressure with just their down 4. If they can do this and bring pressure on Drew Brees with just their down 4, that opens up a whole lot of latitude for the Seattle Seahawks defense.
Well, the Seahawks have 26 sacks. That's 3rd most in the NFC. Right at the first down marker, the catch made by Marcus Colston.
Marcus Colston, one of the good big receivers in this league, like a Mike Williams. He can envelop the ball. Colston's every bit of 6'4", 225 pounds. Very difficult for a DB. What's the old adage? You can roll to speed, you can bracket quickness, but in terms of size like that, what do you do except get beat?
guns it to the far sideline, and the catch is made by Thomas. That'll be another first down to the 39. 14-yard gain.
Well, we've talked about the tight ends in this system. I expect to see a little bit more of Graham, the rookie they got out of Miami. Thomas is a good all-around player. They motion him and use him in the fullback. They don't have a fullback on the roster right now, on their game day roster. He's the point of attack tight end. He's the move H-back. He's the fullback in the system when needed.
Breeze throws to Meacham, who tiptoes away down the sideline, and they'll mark it in the 25-yard line. That's another Saints first down. This offense starting to get it cranked up.
Yeah, and we're beginning to see Meacham's been kind of the lost player in this. We already saw one reverse for a good pickup. This is a first-round draft choice out of the University of Tennessee. Been a little bit of a disappointment. Kind of had a breakout year last year with 45 receptions. But when you got guys like Devery Henderson and Lance Moore filling in and around Marcus Colston, Meacham fighting for catches and playing time.
14-yard gain, 14-yard gain, 15-yard gain. All via the air, and out of the run game to Ivory for a yard. Let's again send it back to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
Well, Coach Billick was talking about tight end play a little while ago. How about these guys in New England? Gronkowski and this man, Aaron Hernandez, 8-yard score, and the Patriots are already on top of the Indianapolis Colts, 14-0 behind 2 TD passes from Tom Brady. Tom Brenneman.
Of course, they're getting big production from a couple of Florida Gators they got in the draft.
Yeah.
Brandon Spikes on defense and Hernandez on offense.
We saw Hernandez in the Sugar Bowl, Tom, and wondered how he would transition to the NFL. He's transitioned very well.
Pump fake. Colston. First down, touchdown.
Wow. This is a man's catch here now. Marcus Colston gives you this size. He's in the slot here. They're trying to isolate him with maybe a safety. The linebacker needs to get a better jam on Colston. Now this is just all 225. I think 225 pounds is a little generous. Sean Payton said he's a couple Big Macs from becoming a tight end, but he's got that kind of size that he just envelops the ball and people bounce off him.
And another injured Seahawk. You had the free safety Earl Thomas collide with Kelly Jennings, trying to make the tackle on Colston, and Thomas shaken up. It's 24 straight games, including the playoffs, with a touchdown pass thrown by Drew Brees. That is the longest active streak in the NFL. They have a new snapper this week. Jake Ingram just brought in yesterday to replace the injured Jason Kyle. No problem with that snap. And the point after by Garrett Hartley is good. So the Saints go marching down the field. Well, there was a late flag thrown in after that point after, very, very late. And we're waiting. Our referee today is Mike Carey to tell us who's it against.
Well, it's taking a lot of folks to sort this thing out. We got a full quorum of officials. That always scares me when it takes that many to figure out what went wrong.
After the ball was dead, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the receiving team. Number 36, now foul will be assessed on the kickoff, 15 yards. The try is good.
Well, I got to tell you, when the Saints score a touchdown playing here at the Superdome,
oh, baby,
this crowd, haven't had a chance to be to every stadium in the NFL blind, but it's hard to imagine. It gets more crunked up, as they call it here, than anywhere in the NFL.
Every ounce of enjoyment out of following their Saints.
This one hammered out of the end zone after the penalty. 14-6, 10-17 to play until the half. 14-6, New Orleans in front. 10-17 to play in the second quarter.
Seattle's got to crank this up, Tom. You get the feel of the building. You get the feel of this Saints team. It's kind of going their way. It's a one-score difference, but the look of the two teams is different right now. Seattle needs to get down the field to score, either on a long drive or a big play.
Well, they've had a couple of big plays already in the game, looking for another, and it was nearly intercepted by Usama Young, who steps in to start today at free safety for the injured Malcolm Jenkins and the injured Darren Sharper.
Yeah, the question for Matt Hasselbeck, could you take a snap from center in the gun? Some people thought with the injured wrist might be in the gun a little bit more. He's as comfortable, if not more comfortable, taking it from center.
Second down and 10, and Lynch can't handle it again. That's a pair of drops for Marshawn Lynch today, and that could have turned into a pretty big gain.
And he knows it. He knew there was nothing out in front of him but green grass. You're right, Tom. This is the second time. This is a very accurate throw, just in perfect, almost like a wide screen. You got to catch the ball first. Threw it out in front of Lynch. He'd have done some damage with that one.
Lynch still thinking about it. Third down.
It's one of those third and longs, 3rd and 10 times that, boy, Seattle, they got to get out of this down in distance. This does not bode well for them.
Blitz coming, they pick it up. But overthrown, the intended target Obamanu, and it's 3 and out for Seattle when you thought they needed to do something.
Yeah, and Greg Williams came after him there a little bit. I love what Matt Hasselbeck says. He said Greg Williams is playing defense like he won the lottery. He's not afraid to bring folks. He doesn't care whether he gets home or not, and they're playing that way. They haven't got the turnovers as we've talked about it, but they are near or top of the league in so many key categories. This is a better defense than their Super Bowl team last year.
Punt by John Ryan. A fair catch called for, and then contact made. That'll be a penalty on Roy Lewis. That'll tack on 15 more. So this possession for the Saints will start on the other side of the 50.
That's a tough one when a guy with the fair catch moves the way that he did there. That's a tough one for the defender.
There's a lot of jawing going on down there ever since that personal foul by Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got a hit, now he's getting over a free catch. And look, he makes the free catch signal at the numbers, gets all the way to the sideline. That is awful tough. It's still a penalty, but Roy Lewis has got he probably didn't even see the fair catch. All he saw is a guy run over to the sideline and catch the ball.
Interference with the maker of the fair catch. Kicking team number 34. 15-yard penalty to respond to foul. First down. Timeout.
First down in New Orleans, trying to add to a 14-6 lead. Our aerial coverage today from New Orleans provided by DirecTV. Late afternoon, just a gorgeous weather weekend. Temperatures in the high 70s and temperatures rising on that sideline. Pete Carroll did not like that call a moment ago.
Nah, and he needed some explaining on that, as I do, but it was the right call. It's just tough. I don't know what you tell your kid as to what he should or shouldn't do.
There's Ivory inside the 40 down to the 37-yard line. That last Saints drive, this first pass converted a 3rd down and 13, and they never let up after that completion to Colston.
Well, they're getting just the right balance they need between the run and the pass. That's what's setting up these big plays to Colston and to Meacham. Just like we said, if you run the ball, they force you to build that 8-man box. If I get an 8-man box, I'm one-on-one on the outside. Drew Brees will cut you up with one-on-one coverage.
Ivory 10 carries for 65 yards. He goes to the sideline in favor of Julius Jones. They set up the screen to the tight end Jimmy Graham, and the former basketball player at the University of Miami converts into a first down to the 28-yard line.
Well, they got it going on the Saints right now. These are just the numbers you want. You see the typical efficiency out of Drew Brees. Most importantly, you're seeing 6.5 average per carry for Chris Ivory, and then that's going to lead to the big plays on the outside. One leads to the other.
A sixth offensive lineman checks in for New Orleans sack streak. And they're going to throw, looking to the end zone for Graham, and defended beautifully back there by the rookie Walter Thurman.
Great play. This is a deep corner route by the tight end. You're just going to see him go vertical on the outside. You're forever trailing it. This is a big old body now with Graham. Every bit of 6'6" basketball player. You can't play that any better as a defender. You wait. You saw him go up, turn, play the ball, knock it down.
Of course, that's Thurman filling in for the injured Marcus Trufant, who suffered a head injury on the last New Orleans drive, and his return is questionable.
Ball here. Oh, I'm wrong. Quick screen.
Did he touch it? No, he did not. That ball hit the ground. In the meantime, let's send it back to Kurt Menefee for a game break in Los Angeles.
Another NFC South versus West matchup. Matt Ryan and the Falcons at St. Louis. Matt Ryan hooking up with Brian Finneran. Falcons with the lead in the second quarter, only by 3, 13-10. Right now, it's just under 7 minutes remaining before halftime. Tom and Brian?
Thank you very much, Kurt. We're very much looking forward to getting to Atlanta next weekend, Brian Billick. That's a big one. The Falcons will be hosting the Green Bay Packers.
Fight a division leader is always fun when you've got that.
Third down and 10. Breeze steps up, fires again to Colston. First and goal. Nope, they'll call it at the 11. But it is a first down. And Drew Brees has just passed Norman Esiason, that's Boomer Esiason, for 14th place on the all-time completions list. 2,971 of them.
Pete Carroll told us Boomer Esiason was the smartest quarterback he's ever been around. I think he'd like to be around this young man, Drew Brees. He's a pretty smart one, too.
Indeed. Jones, met by Thomas. At the 7. Hawthorne also in on the tackle.
Seattle, we mentioned it earlier, Tom, is just not built to face a team that has the balance that New Orleans is showing them right now. The big physical running game, the presence outside of a guy like Colston. They're at their best when they can put their 5 and 6 DB package in, which means you're not running well on first and second down. That's not the case with New Orleans. They're in control of this game right now.
Liddell Betts inside the 5, down to the 4. They can get a first down at the 2-yard line.
Looks like a
offense
flag.
Number 77, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
A flag. We did not see it thrown on the field. But they got Carl Nix.
Says on Nix, just the left guard right here. We're going to see where it shows up. This is a killer down in here. You're inside the 10-yard line. Boy, it looks like he just buried himself there. We certainly didn't see it from there. That's a killer penalty now. It takes you back out, puts you on a second long outside of the 15.
By the way, Chris Ivory had to go back to the locker room. We'll update you on his condition when we find out. Breeze rolling. Throws a strike to Colston. Short of the first down, run out of bounds at the 3. It'll be third down and less than a yard.
Drew Brees, when you talk to coaches, the thing of all the things he does great, I want you to watch the way he buys time and then breaks contain is his feet. The way the pocket presence he has, and I'm not talking about big plays outside the pocket, running for yards. He keeps himself alive, was able to turn his shoulders even though running to the left. The guy has great feet.
Third and a yard. They're going to throw it. And it's a touchdown. Flag down. There is a flag down. The catch made by Meacham. But this might come back. Although the Saints are pointing at Seattle.
Defense number 27 is declined. Score is good.
It is a touchdown to Robert Meacham. his third receiving touchdown of the year.
Again, Tom, I want you to watch Drew Brees here in the pocket. He gets a pretty decent pocket, but watch the way, just the subtle movement of the feet. Step up, just that subtle drop of the shoulder, step up, always keeping his vision down the field, waiting for that last possible moment to throw a touchdown pass.
Point after is just good inside the upright. 21-6, Saints in front. 8 plays, 42 yards. A little better than 4 minutes, capped off by the touchdown catch by Robert Meacham.
I got to get the guy that picks the music for Here at the Dome to work my iPod, man. He's got it going.
Well, this is that song about Saints fans get crunk, C-R-U-N-K. And they play it every time they score a touchdown. Of course, that's like a popular 45 back in the old days, because they score a lot. For weekdays, we invite you to make lunchtime your prime time. Lunch with benefits on FoxSports.com, including Coach Speak with Brian Billick every Tuesday. So who's on your show this week?
I got John Harbaugh, and here on the Inside Call, too, bring people attention to that. I have great conversations with the Sunday crew. Those guys have been fun, Howie Long and Terry, and they say it's great to talk football because they don't ever get to do that on the pregame show.
Anthony Hargrove injured on the kickoff. He won the Ed Block Courage Award, voted upon by his teammates last year. Let's see what happened.
It just looks like he's going to get wadded up here. Yeah, that's a lot of beef flowing down there.
You know, Hargrove, one of the many great stories for this New Orleans Saints team last year. Brian, he was suspended for an entire year. He came back, and you know, just one of those magical seasons for this Saints team. And you talked about them being under the radar as a defending Super Bowl champion so far this year. They're really starting to look like a team that maybe when all is said and done, and you never know, might still be the best team in the NFC.
And if they can win this game going forward and get back people like Reggie Bush and Darren Sharper and Jeremy Shockey and Pierre Thomas, the list goes on and on, for them to win under these circumstances, that's where you sense that confidence they had that we could go on a real run here.
It's good to see Hargrove able to get up and walk off the field. Of course, the Saints have lost 3 games. We were here for one of their losses when Garrett Hartley missed that very short field goal that would have beaten Atlanta. And, you know, they were ready to cut him loose. In fact, they brought in a few other kickers, bringing John Carney among others back to try and, you know, not have the kind of situation go on and on and on the entire year. Hartley has bounced back well. So the Saints will play against their division rival Falcons one more time, but it will be in Atlanta.
Well, it was the teams they lost to, the other two, to the Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns, that had people scratching their heads. That they've now got to come back the rest of the way and show they're able to keep this stretch run going.
This becomes a critical drive for Seattle, and they convert on the catch to Mike Williams up to the 45-yard line.
And they've got to keep the balance. They can't just figure this is a throw game now. They've got to keep the balance. Believe me, a Greg Williams coach defense, you do not want to become one-dimensional against that.
Obamanu with lots of running room. And he spun down after another first down to the 45-yard line. You know, you talk about great stories. We were talking about Hargrove. What about Mike Williams? Former #1 pick. Spent the last 2 seasons out of football after flopping as that first-round selection by Detroit back in 2005. And you see his first 3 years, 2 at Detroit, a 3rd year split between Oakland and Tennessee before he was out of the game. That's a tough throw right there for Hasselbeck to try and make. That was defended beautifully by Scott Shanley.
Well, the numbers you just showed on Mike Williams are what the numbers that Detroit anticipated when they took him in the first round. And it's great to see a guy reclaim his career that way. It's very genuine. He's gone from a guy that, he can add to this offense, to how do we get Mike Williams the ball.
That's his third catch. And a nice tackle made by Tracy Porter. Bring you up to date on some other games going on late in the afternoon on this Sunday. Talked about New England, led by Tom Brady, out to a 21-7 lead over Indianapolis. Atlanta in a tight one in St. Louis. And San Francisco, they won their last two games, trailing at the half to Tampa Bay.
Well, this NFC West is going to be very interesting going down the stretch between these Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, and the St. Louis Cardinals. That's all on St. Louis Rams.
Williams beat Porter on the other side, and that's a first down to the 25.
Boy, this just shows you. I want you to watch the stretch of the arms by Mike Williams, the strong hands. We already showed you his pregame warm-up. I want you to watch the way he reaches out. And once he gets his hands on the ball, he's got that ball. He's got as long an arm stretch, as long a fingers, and as strong a hands as about any receiver I've been around.
Timeout taken by New Orleans, stopping the clock with 3:28 to play until halftime. We were there last week when broken pinky at all. 11 receptions, 145 yards for Mike Williams.
Catch just like we saw right there. Look at it. Now watch this last one. Reaches up behind him, one hand just going to the ground. This guy is so big. He envelops the ball, and I don't care how big you are as a DB, it's hard to play this guy because it's hard to get to the ball without it being pass interference. He's so big that you have to go through him. Doesn't have great speed. That separation is something he's got to work on, but this is a big man to have to cover.
He virtually ate himself out of football. Ballooned up to nearly 280 pounds. We'll give it to him again. Reaches forward. We'll see where they spot it. They'll spot it at the 23-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3 on the play.
You know, I like the way they're trying to get the ball in his hands. I don't know that those little quick screens are Mike Williams' thing. You need a guy that can get some explosion and move around. It might be setting something else up off of it, pump to him and maybe go vertical in behind it, but you need to get him further down the field.
Williams at the bottom of your screen, isolated on Jabari Greer. Forsett was open and Hasselbeck missed him.
I don't know if that one just got away from him or the indecision. He also had Williams going down the rail. Forsett's the kind of guy, if you can get a little drop pass like that to him out of the backfield, all of a sudden now he can turn a 4 or 5 yard gain right here. You get the ball in his hands right here, he can turn and take it into the end zone, which is typically what you need inside the red zone. Someone's got to catch a short pass and make a play out of it.
Ninth play of the drive, it's third down. Wide open. Brandon Stokely healthy again. His first catch in over 3 weeks.
And that's got Brandon Stokely written all over it. 3rd and 9, you need a guy you know you can trust, that's going to know where the first down markers are and set himself open just at the right time. Matt Hasselbeck thrilled to have Brandon Stokely back into the lineup for critical situations just like that.
They brought him in October, made his debut at St. Louis, had a team-high 62 receiving yards, but he's been plagued with an injured calf. First down, Hasselbeck fires. Caught again by Stokely inside the 5, down to the 2. And this will take us to the 2-minute warning. Seattle, or where are we going to stop it here? 2:01, yes. A timeout is called. Why a timeout there, Brian Billick?
Well, because now you're going to pick another one up. This allows you to, you can run the ball, you can throw the ball, and now the 2-minute warning still has to. Oh, the Saints. I thought Seattle did. Boy, that's going to, they obviously are having to regroup here. Brandon Stokely comes in a 4 wide receiver alignment. This has obviously caught New Orleans off guard. They know down here we need to regroup a little bit because right now they've converted on 2 pretty good plays. This is great for Seattle because now they're going to get another timeout with the 2-minute warning. They got all the time in the world they need right now, particularly with the 2-minute warning coming up, and they got 2 timeouts, as you can see here, in their back pocket.
Of course, the other side of it is for the Saints, the way their offense is going here today, you know, maybe they get one more crack at it with a little bit of time left before the half.
Yeah, that defines arrogance if you're calling a timeout at 2:01 just so your offense can get the ball back.
Forsett did not get to the goal line, so we've officially arrived at the 2-minute warning. 1:57 left. Can Seattle get into the end zone for the first time? On 3rd and 1 this season, Seattle is 7 out of 18. That's hard to believe.
And this is going to be an awful loud place to try to get to 8 of 19 because it's getting loud down that corner. I can promise you right now.
They're going to throw it. Obamanu for the touchdown. You were wondering in the break, would you go for 2 here to try and make it a 21-14 game?
Well, they're sending on the kicker, and that's the right thing to do. Get it down to the single-score game. But I tell you what, the way the New Orleans Saints are going up and down the field, squeezing as many points out of every opportunity, it would have been worth the discussion. They're doing the right thing, kicking the extra point.
And when you say a single-score game, that would be a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Correct. If this is successful.
Right, minimum of 8 points.
Point after is good. That's a big touchdown for Seattle.
Big touchdown to answer the way they did. This keeps this game now manageable, particularly on the road.
Well, later on tonight here on Fox, Animation Domination is your Sunday destination. Packed with all new episodes of The Simpsons, The Cleveland Show, Family Guy, and American Dad. The most animated night on TV starts 7 Eastern, 6 Central tonight on Fox.
I want a dog like Brian. I would love. How would you love to have a dog like that? Just the sage advice. My daughters love The Family Guy. They really do.
Really?
They do. They do.
We don't ever get to see it. We're always hustling out and trying to catch a plane.
That's what DVR and videos are for.
Well, now if you're Drew Brees and the Saints, I mean, I know you were saying jokingly, I assume, I don't want to speak for you, about taking a timeout with 2:01 left. They have 1:54 to go and 1 timeout.
Yeah, that's a danger. I think they did it because they needed to regroup defensively. But right now, Sean Payton's okay with that because Drew Brees, with this much time and a timeout, I'm good to go.
Of course, the danger always becomes if you happen to make that first mistake of a game, and then Seattle's able to steal something.
Yep. And that's where uncharacteristic of New Orleans and Drew Brees this year with his 11 interceptions. Last year, he's already got 12 this year. He'll be conscious of that. He's a smart quarterback.
Wow, what a hit. Delivered by Will Herring. Holy mackerel, did he flatten Courtney Roby. That's one of the biggest hits we've seen all year long.
Yeah, Herring got the better of that exchange.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy will have all the scores and highlights from around the league. The Fox Sports ticker has up to the second stats and scores.
Let's see what Drew Brees wants to do here. He's got them all spread out. This sort of looks like we're going to try to move down the field.
Drops it off to Adele Betts, and he'll step out of bounds, stopping the clock with 1:43 to go.
This is where, as we said earlier, with Reggie Bush, you can become absolutely lethal. But without him now, he's got enough assets on the outside. He's got a good, fast group. Devery Henderson's got the speed, as does Meacham. He's got enough skill on the field to push this thing down the field.
Whoa, that's what we were talking about.
Oh, boy.
Here's that hit we saw on a kickoff a moment ago by Will Herring.
And this is one of those straight-ons, just straight shot. No blockers coming from any other angle. I guarantee you, Roby had no idea Herring was coming in. That just all of a sudden flashed. All he saw was white and then stars.
Herring's been a very, very good special teams player, sometimes a linebacker, but a solid player for Seattle for many years. Third down, Brees steps into the throw, and it's incomplete. Well, now all of a sudden, here we are. Is there a flag down on the play? There is. Was this a late hit on Brees?
Personal foul. Roughing the passer.
Oh, boy.
Defense number 98. Helmet to helmet contact, 15 yards.
The dreaded helmet to helmet.
That's it. First roughing the passer penalty against Seattle this year. This time it's against Raheem Brock.
And you're going to see here as it comes in late. He thinks he in there. No. Boy, that's almost chest to chest. I'd have to see a different angle. I'm not sure the official didn't see the proximity as opposed to the helmet to helmet.
First down throw to Liddell Betts, and he streaks down the sideline to the 28.
You know, for Seattle, you're about to get the ball back, 1:39. Now all of a sudden you've got time and timeouts to put Matt Hasselbeck back in. You get a call like that, and now New Orleans is on inside the 30-yard line. Tough sequence of events for the Seattle Seahawks on the road.
Should be noted Drew Brees has just tied Archie Manning as the Saints' all-time leader in career completions. How about that? Moore shot down at the 22. One timeout left for the Saints. We're under 1:10.
And this is where Drew Brees is best. Total control of this offense and where he wants to go.
Poston for the touchdown. Wow.
Drew Brees knowing right where he wants to go. They're going to go vertical with Colston. Put Moore out here to draw coverage. Make sure the corner can't get involved. Safety goes to the middle of the field. Marcus Colston, you can put that thing up as high as you want. Big body, nice safe throw by Drew Brees. What an impressive drive. An answer to an impressive drive by Seattle.
That took all of 54 seconds to go 75 yards. Chase Daniel going to try and run it in. And did he get there? No. So again, Jake Ingram, a new snapper after the injury to Jason Kyle.
This may get reviewed. This may get reviewed from above. That looked like he broke the plane or the pylon. Let's see where the leg's down. They may not review it, but you're talking about points here. Fans are reacting to what they're seeing. You can see the snap gets fumbled here. Now as he scrambles out, where does the ball? He hits the pylon with the ball. Does his knee hit before? Yeah, it looked like it went down before.
Good call.
Official right on top of it.
Boy, Chase Daniel, he had some great moments, didn't he, at the University of Missouri?
He did.
Resurrecting that program. They've not been the same since he left.
Drew Brees here, you can see it. Look at the focus on his eyes right here. He's looking one side. He knows exactly where he's going with the ball. Comes right back. He knew all along he was going to Marcus Colston. Froze the corner on the outside. Looked the other way to move the safety and went right where he wanted to go in the first place.
Well, we understand they're taking a look at it upstairs in the booth. The Saints went 3 and out on their first possession of the game. They were a yard short. They thought about going for it on 4th down. Ever since then, 12 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. 10 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. 8 plays, 42 yards, touchdown. And now in 54 seconds, they go 75 yards for a 4th consecutive touchdown.
Drew Brees, like all great players, great quarterbacks, is a prideful man. He got uncharacteristic criticism when they lost to Cleveland, saying he was unfocused, not necessarily ready to play, which really stung him. Here we're going to see the replay again, a little bit better angle. Where is the ball when his knee touches? Yeah, see, we can see he's just approaching the yard marker as that knee went down. You can see right here, freeze it. The knee is down right there, and the ball is clearly short of the marker. Worth a review, though. You're talking about points clearly. I understand why they're reviewing it.
Well, it's hard to believe it's taken this long to figure this out.
Yeah, you and I have seen it a lot quicker. We've had 3 views at it. I'll get on my soapbox again here. I don't think we need the peep show with the official going over. Let the officials up there see it, communicate it with the referee. We have the technology today to do that. I think we can do away with the challenge system and the replay system on the field.
When the runner's knee was down, the ball was short of the goal line. Therefore, the try is no good. The rule in the field is confirmed.
Brian, let me ask you this. You know, it's my opinion, and I don't know if you agree or disagree. There's two areas where the college game, I think, has it better than the pro game.
I agree.
We've already seen this already. His knee clearly is down, and they saw it upstairs.
Down there, and then he doesn't cross the plane.
Let me ask you, you know, the two areas many feel are pass interference, that a straight 15-yard penalty rather than the spot of the foul like they have in the NFL, and the other has to do with instant replay.
Yeah.
Every time there's a questionable call in the college game, you don't have a challenge system where you lose timeouts if you don't win it.
And I don't think you even need the official to go over and listen to the headset. We've got the ability to just do it all within the flow of the game. The pass interference is one that's always discussed. That's a big penalty when it's at the spot of the foul, not 15 yards.
There's another flag. So here we are with a minute left in Seattle. After this penalty,
the ball will be placed at the 40-yard line.
Is going to get the ball at the 40-yard line, and they have, what, 2 timeouts remaining.
That's exactly right. And in field position, this is what they were about to get until the unfortunate head-to-head contact call for roughing the passer on Drew Brees. But now Matt Hasselbeck, you can get a little of this back. At the very least, 3 points. You'd love 7. But at the very least, 3 points, if for nothing else, to get the emotional swing away from the New Orleans Saints.
Hasselbeck throwing up top to Obamanu, and he has a catch at the 38-yard line. Clock continues to run.
And Matt Hasselbeck took a shot on that left wrist. That hurt him. He's okay, but I tell you what, that hurt him.
He's going to get him up to the line of scrimmage, and is he going to spike it? No, they're going to go ahead and run a play. Under 40 seconds left. Catch to Stokely. Very shrewd veteran move there by Stokely.
Brandon Stokely is a coach's son. He knows exactly what you needed to do. Get myself out of bounds. I know we got 2 timeouts. This puts the whole offense on the table now. When you have 2 timeouts, you're in scoring position. You got the 3 points ostensibly I talked about. Now I have a lot of latitude to see if I can get 7 out of this as well.
I tell you, that botched extra point could turn out to be a big play in this game.
Michael Williams down here at the bottom.
Blitz coming, they pick it up. Catch is made, late flag comes in. It might be a late hit on Hasselbeck.
Holding.
Oh boy.
Offense number 69.
That's brutal.
That's the left guard, Chester Pitts.
Yeah, and that takes you out of field goal range now. It just changes the dynamic of just what I was talking about. Here's the left guard, Pitts. A couple penalties have really been costly here. Now, see, he's just getting bull rush going down, kind of held on to the helmet just to keep his balance. Got called for the holding.
There's Anthony Hargrove doing that bull rushing, so they'll back it up from the 23 to the 33.
There's no charge timeout to Seattle. First down.
24 seconds remain in the second quarter. Hasselbeck just throws it away.
Boy, that he barely stayed enough in the pocket for that not to be intentional grounding.
Or did it get past the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, that's what they're debating. That's what they're talking about right now. They've got to talk through the parameters of, did it clear the line of scrimmage? Did he stay inside the pocket? Mike Carriott, one of the best at explaining the process.
Intentional grounding. The ball did not get to the line of scrimmage. And 10-yard penalty, loss of down, second down.
And not bad at dramatic effect either with the late little pull. The question here, was he inside or outside the pocket? Did it reach the line? Clearly didn't look like it hit. It got past the line of scrimmage. Line of scrimmage is in blue right here. and it doesn't make it to it. Yeah, Hasselbeck none too pleased, but there's no place to argue this one. You talk about a holding penalty and now an intentional grounding. They were inside the 25-yard line. Now they got to go back to thinking about, can I get this team back in position for at least 3?
Second down and 30. They have the ball at the 23-yard line. All the way out to the 43 now. Well, you're looking for a throw, a catch, and an immediate timeout. Stokely, nice job at the 25. They'll call a timeout. It'll stop the clock with 4 seconds left, and out comes the field goal unit. 4 seconds away from the Visa halftime report. The Pack bouncing Brett Favre again, this time in Minneapolis. And wild finishes around the NFL, and there were lots of those today.
Well, we've got a wild finish to the half. Boy, it's just too bad for Seattle, that sequence of the 2 plays, the holding and the intentional grounding, to be in position with time on the clock, timeouts in your pocket, to maybe come away with 7. They'll be pleased to have gotten the 3, but a 7 was much needed.
Seattle trying to make it a 27-16 game. 43-yard try by Morel. He's hit a couple of field goals already today, and this one sneaks inside the upright, and it is good on the final play of the opening half. 16 points scored by the 2 teams in the final minute 50. We're back after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Oh, what a gorgeous look there. As we're set to begin the second half here in New Orleans. And the Saints will get the football. They scored on their last 4 possessions of the opening half. 4 touchdowns. Roby will take a knee. So Breeze and company get it at the 20-yard line. All right, let's go back to your head coaching days, Brian Billick. Let's start with the visiting Seattle Seahawks. If you're Pete Carroll, what are you saying to your team at halftime? How do you feel right now?
Well, you know, they're in a tough environment right now. What you can't do is put yourself in a mindset that you're going to bleed to death slowly. Hey, you know, if we're going to go down, let's go after them. Let's pressure a little bit more. We'll continue to take the shots down the field. Got to show a little bit of balance, but we can't just give in to the overwhelming emotional presence of New Orleans right now. I got to do something to change the dynamic.
We'll see if their defense can come up with a stop. And a batted ball. And is that caught by Jermon Bushrod? Yes, it was. Seattle has missed on a couple of those chances today, and if you're going to pull off a stunner on the road, you need these to go your way.
Absolutely. When the ball bounces up this high, this thing takes forever to come down when you're Sean Payton. Please get to the ground.
Well, that ball was incomplete. Bushrod did not catch it. It's a second down. And the opening possession of this second half. And Breeze to hand it off to Ivory, who left re-injuring his shoulder in the first half, but back on the field in a gain of 7, his first carry here in the second.
Well, obviously it doesn't take much here. You can see the yards rushing difference. The big one is the drives for TDs. New Orleans 5 drives, 4 TDs. What does Seattle have to do? Stay balanced, because they're going to let you run the ball. They don't want to give up the big play. Wait for that big play when it presents itself, and when you get into scoring position. Right now, they're trading field goals for touchdowns. Seattle's got to come up with touchdowns when they get down into scoring position.
Right now, they're down 13. They're down 11 after that late touchdown and the field goal. And that is a catch for a first down up to the 46-yard line by Jimmy Graham. That's a big third down conversion.
They keep putting Graham on these 7 routes to the corner. He is so big. Drew Brees knows he can put a lot of air under it. This former basketball player, gives him a big sweep spot to throw the ball. This guy's every bit of 6'6". When you stand next to this guy, you realize just what a huge target he is.
Which are playing today without Jeremy Shockey, without Reggie Bush, again without Pierre Thomas on offense. They pitch it to Ivory. And he crosses midfield. They'll spot it at the Seattle 49-yard line, a gain of close to 4.
You know, New Orleans, particularly to start a game, is infamous for rolling a lot of personnel groupings through. They've been a little limited here. They're double tight end. We thought we would see more of it, but their regular formation, that's 2 backs, 1 tight end. They've been featuring that. Of course, they can get into a 3 wides. A little less of the 2 tight ends than we thought coming in.
Breeze on the slant. Catch made by Devery Henderson. First down. Henderson having a quiet season this year.
He has. He has been a big play guy for them for some time. He's 22 catches on the year so far. Last year he had 51 receptions, but was really their big play guy. Haven't quite gotten the same big plays out of him this year. I don't know if that has to do with Devery Henderson or because of the lack of the running game and some of the things they're doing.
With so much time, you give him that kind of time and it's a touchdown to Robert Meacham. They're going to crunk some more here in New Orleans.
Meacham is out here. It's just a skinny post. They bring Devery Henderson right down the middle. They nod to the post. Come in there, that free safety can't win. He had to honor Devery Henderson running down the middle. Again, Robert Meacham, a first-round draft choice. Minimal presence so far. If he can indeed now become part of the equation as they start to get these people back, they could get back on that Super Bowl balance they had last year.
Meacham, his second touchdown catch of the afternoon. That is 5 straight possessions. And New Orleans scores a touchdown. What do you say to a guy over there when you have 5 straight possessions with a touchdown? Why even bother to look at that stuff?
No, you just want to tell me what you're doing, man. Because I might get a job off of this. I want to know how you're doing this magic because I want to be able to tell the next guy what to do.
All right, Seattle will get the football for the first time in his second half, and Leon Washington brings it out to the 25. I'll go back to Drew Brees trying to fire his team up for this game. Listen to what he had to say.
Let's go, baby. It's time to separate ourselves from the rest of the league. And it starts today. Here we go. Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? What we do? What we do? What we do?
Well, the end of that routine, you've heard most of that, but the difference saying at the very start, time to separate ourselves from the rest of the pack. He's just passed John Hable for 20th place all time, over 33,000 passing yards for Drew Brees. Obamanu on a first down, picks up 9.
Well, they're about to separate themselves from the pack because with this game and then they a Thursday night on national with the Dallas Cowboys, they're no more going under the radar. They're out of the witness protection program because this could very well be, if they get this kind of roll, we're going to start talking about the New Orleans Saints again.
Well, this one's a long way from being over.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't start any way, shape, or form any of you to believe at home that throwing in the towel on this thing. Although that certainly doesn't help. Was he already down? Or are they saying he fumbled the ball before he hit the ground? This will be an interesting call here. Mike Carey is pointing and saying it's New Orleans ball, but Pete Carroll may want to have a look at this.
He will, but it looks like I think the ball did indeed come out. As you're going to see him, we're going to roll, and just as he comes down right there, look at there, The ball's out. That ball was out as he was rolling around on his backside. I think you can see it again here. The ball starts to come out. He is down there. The ball is clearly up in the air. This one's going to stand going New Orleans' way.
That was stripped and recovered by Roman Harper, and Marshawn Lynch has had a dreadful day today for Seattle. If indeed this play stands, he's dropped 2 passes out of the backfield, and now a fumble. A fumble by Marshawn Lynch, the first fumble by a Seattle running back this season, and that's in 200 rushing attempts. Well, what a play by Roman Harper.
Well, we talked about how well this defense is playing, Tom, but the biggest thing is the turnovers. Last year they had 40. They only have 13 to date. Obviously, if they can get that back into their defense as well, that's going to be imposing.
Devery Henderson takes a handoff and picks up a yard. Well, you're talking about New Orleans statistically, and let's just look inside the numbers and how much they have improved in every category from last year.
Now, with the Green Bay Packers last year, they led the league in turnovers. That's the one area they're a little bit behind. But look at this. They are clearly a better defense. And now you can see the differential, the turnover ratio. That's going to begin to change as now we get Darren Sharp back into the lineup and get fumbles just like we saw.
2nd down and 9, and Breeze throws away. A would-be tackler completes it to Graham. Boy, Graham has stepped right in for the injured Jeremy Shockey. Got his first touchdown in the NFL last week.
Well, that's confidence by a quarterback when this is basically like the fall-away jumper. And again, it's because of the faith he has in this big target. This is a big sweep spot to be able to hit a guy like Jimmy Graham. He is going to become more and more, as we go down the stretch, a part of what they do. Imagine having this, Thomas, and you get Shockey back, and now you get the running presence of Pierre Thomas to go with Ivory, and by the way, throw in Reggie Bush. Little scary.
They had a very nice story on Graham. There wasn't a lot of depth to it, and you can understand why. A young man who had a troubled upbringing was adopted by a family much later in his high school days that became his adopted mom and dad. And back in North Carolina, they had a chance to watch him score his first NFL touchdown last week, and it was a very emotional day.
Well, he's a 3rd-round pick that Sean Payton said, we may look back on this draft and realize this was one of the big picks of the draft, one of the best picks of the 2010 draft.
Ivory tripped up by big Brandon Mebane. That'll be a loss of 4 on 1st down. They didn't have Mebane for a month with a calf injury. He returned to start last week in Arizona. He has been dependable over his first 4 years in the league with Seattle.
And Seattle's clearly on a growth curve. They've got an ambitious style of play defensively that they're trying to institute between Pete Carroll and Gus Bradley as defensive coordinator. It doesn't come overnight. It's still clearly in the growth period.
Breeze down the middle, and look who's there again. That's Graham.
Watch, this is what I'm talking about, the wingspan of a guy like this. Drew Brees, ball fades off a little bit. Watch those long arms. This thing drops down. He doesn't even have to bend over. He drops those hands down in there, comes up with the catch. Again, for a tight end, the sweep spot, the area I can throw the ball as a quarterback, is so huge for me as a quarterback because I know I can put it just about anywhere with a big athlete like that.
Is this a 6th straight touchdown? Incomplete. Let's quickly go to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
And we quickly take you to the Patriots and Colts. Danny Woodhead, the reject from the Jets, making a name for himself with New England. 36-yard touchdown run, and the Patriots had a 28-14 lead over Indy in the 3rd quarter. Tom and Brian.
Danny Woodhead, of course, turned loose by the Jets. and has become a big part of that New England offense. Final moments of daylight here in New Orleans, and daylight up through the middle of that offensive line for Chris Ivory. Ivory's a great story, a young man who grew up in Texas, started at Washington State, and for 3 years there was injured. They just could never get him on the field. And by the time his senior year came around, he transferred to Tiffin, that's in Ohio, and had a good senior year, coming back from injury, but not good enough to be drafted. But it's good enough to lead all rookie rushers in the NFL.
And you can see what he puts back into the New Orleans Saints offense. We just saw a 2nd and 10 after a shot to the end zone on first down. Up to this point, without the running presence of a Pierre Thomas and a Reggie Bush. Typically that might be another throw to the end zone, a throw by Sean Payton. But he came back with a 2nd and 10 run to Ivory and then ran the ball again on 3rd and 2.5.
And now it's 1st and goal of the 7. Saints have scored touchdowns on 5 consecutive possessions. Make it a bid for a 6, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Drew Brees wants that one back. You can't throw flat inside the 10. Too many hands can go up. You can see here he just needed to put some air on it. He makes the play fake. Watch the reaction of the linebackers. He's got what he wants. They're stepping up, but it's way too flat. Defensive lineman knocks it down, or a linebacker. He needed just a little air. He had another touchdown on the books.
And you see a B. Looked like he was the one that got a hand on that pass. Nice play of the drive. Ivory still turning those feet to the 4.
Now we're going to see by the personnel grouping what Sean Payton, he'd love to run the ball in. He's got Thomas and Graham coming back in. Looks like he's got a big group. One or two things he's going to have Bradley's got to decide now based on the personnel grouping. This is a run personnel grouping that now breaks out. You're looking for matchups. Do I have big people in the game, and now I'm going to match up man for man right down here.
Intercepted by David Hawthorne. Not sure what Brees saw there. That was thrown right into double coverage and right into the arms of Hawthorne.
Boy, double coverage looked like there were a whole bunch of white shirts there.
Sixth straight game with an interception. That's the longest streak of his career for Drew Brees. He's thrown 13 on the year after throwing 11 all of last season. And that's the 4th inside the red zone. And Hasselbeck on first down to Lynch, who hangs on to the ball and is out to the 9. Let's go back to that interception.
Yeah, all they're trying to do is with Meacham here, they're going to set a little double move and go vertical, try to bring Thomas in, and you're going to see what happens. He draws coverage. He's not there, and Drew Brees, stop right there. Drew Brees looked like he thought Thomas was going to go into this voided zone. For some reason, Thomas couldn't work past David Hawthorne that led to the interception.
Flags all over the place.
Offense number 76. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 2nd down.
When you look here now, Brees, he's expecting Thomas to come into that void. He's got to let the ball go before he actually sees him make the move. And Hawthorne positioned himself, cutting Thomas off. I'm not saying that's not Drew Brees' responsibility, but he got betrayed by the route itself a little bit.
Quick slant to Mike Williams, and that's very close to a first down, depending on where they spot it. He might be about a fraction short.
Matt Hasselbeck can ask for a measurement here, and that's exactly what he got. Obviously important enough backed up here. I don't want to have to make a 3rd down call if I don't have to. It's going to be very close. That line, yellow line, is unofficial, so we'll have to see exactly what the chains tell us. And obviously it's official enough to be right.
Get a look at some of the numbers. Hasselbeck has had a second consecutive very good game. Throwing a touchdown, has not been intercepted. Williams a yard short of 100. The passing game's been fine. The running game has been non-existent. Lynch stays on his feet.
Hasselbeck, obviously, that wrist, the big concern. He told us yesterday he knew he could start. Could they finish? Obviously, he's taken a couple shots on this thing. He's a warrior. He told us, I could not play. When you watch guys like Tutupu and Laurier Malloy battling through the things they do, how do I not play because of my left wrist? You know, it was interesting at the end of the game because that happened during the game, Tom, and when he got back off the plane, they told him, now look, you can't drive home because of the medication we gave you. So Lindo Amari had to drive him home. He meant, wait a minute, I can play in an NFL football game, but I can't drive home? Where on that bottle does it not say, don't operate heavy machinery and don't step on, but you can step on an NFL football field?
Good protection, Lynch out of the backfield. Tackled from behind, hit very hard, able to hang on to the football. That was a hard hit delivered by Scott Shanley from the backside.
And we got lots of time here now. I know this score is looking a little cattywampus, but this is the kind of balance we're talking about that Seattle has to stay with. Go ahead and take that underneath stuff. Certainly Greg Williams, as much as he wants to pressure you, Pete Carroll knows, as does Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator, they're going to configure themselves not to give up a big play. So if all we have is the underneath stuff, we'll do it. Bates recognizing, I'm going to have a big play in here dialed up, but take the underneath stuff when they want to come after us.
They pitch it to Forsett, who spins off a couple of tackles, and he's up to the 39-yard line. That'll be a gain of close to 4.
And I'm not sure having Forsett in the game isn't a better matchup right now because he's going to create that explosive play. Marshawn Lynch, more of a down here physical. That little pitch certainly a lot easier to do for Matt Hasselbeck than handing the ball off backwards with his right hand. But right now they've got a little bit of balance to them. They need to sustain this.
Forsett just short of a first down, up to the 48-yard line. It'll bring up second down and less than a yard.
We've seen a couple of those underneath throws to Marshawn Lynch where, again, Forsett is better built for that. He's going to get you more yardage out of it. This is a good guy to have in here right now, both for that and for protection. He's very good on protection. At some point, Greg Williams isn't going to be able to help himself and bring pressure.
Forsett ran into his own man, and he will not get to the first down stick. Third down. They have lost a yard. Looked like he ran smack into the back of Sean Locklear.
As unlikely as this field position would dictate, I'm not sure you're not in 4-down territory. I know we got 2:33 or under 2:30 in the third quarter, but the way this is going with New Orleans, you got a little bit of a drive going. I know what it means if you don't get it, but you may have to be in 4-down territory here on your side of the 50. He's getting awful loud. He's killing to something. Maybe a quick little run. Nope.
Being chased by Will Smith. Comes back the other way. Finds Carlson, and he will get a first down. That is well done by Matt Hasselbeck.
And that's all Matt Hasselbeck there. Again, you're just going to see a 4-man rush here. But they lose contain. Once Will Smith comes underneath, he gets okey-doke. Matt Hasselbeck, not the niftiest of quarterbacks, but now he's just praying for something to come open. Gets a big first down conversion for them. This drive has to be maintained this way. Get back into the cycle you had before. Send them vertical. Look for the little drop-offs that got Marshawn Lynch back into the game, giving Forsett a blow.
Lynch has fumbled again.
Oh, boy.
They gave him a couple of draft choices to bring in Marshawn Lynch to be their primary back. And he has had an extremely disappointing game today. Shanley's got it. He was the one who stripped it. The strip by Scott Shanley on Marshawn Lynch, and then Shanley covers it up.
Just a good job ripping it away. You know, Greg Williams is all about, we'll let you have a few yards after the catch. We're going to try to strip the ball. That's an active. One guy's got him. I'm going to do nothing but try to rip it out of his hand, and that's exactly what he did. Working in great tandem with the rest of his defense.
So Breeze and company back on offense. That's Ivory up to the 48.
That's 2 fumbles by Marshawn Lynch. I got to give you a Billick 101 here, Tom. You know, when it comes down to fumbles, you got to help your backs. It begins with a couple simple steps. Put your hand over the tip of the ball. Put your forearm against the ball, and now feel it against your body. You got to squeeze it. Put your elbow tight so they can't come in from behind. And when you're wrapped up by a whole bunch of people, put that off hand over the top. You got to protect the ball.
Why are we still on 101? We're in the second half of the season now.
We're working there, man. You got to pay your tuition bill before I move you up.
I'm a little short on cash. Graham, another reception. He's had a career day today.
And as I said earlier, when you visit with Sean Payton, you visit with Drew Brees, a little smile comes over their face when they talk about Jimmy Graham. They see the potential for this big receiving tight end.
That should be the final play of the third quarter. New Orleans 34, Seattle 16. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
Well, this is the Crescent City. I don't know if this is a crescent moon or not, but this is clearly a New Orleans Saints moon, because they got it going their way right now.
Set to begin the fourth quarter. Ivory thrown to the deck by Raheem Brock. These numbers are just third quarter numbers.
You know, you see a bit of balance by Seattle, like we said, but just, boy, these numbers that you see out of New Orleans, this is getting a little scary. Like last year when they went on that great run and then near the end kind of laid back a little bit waiting for the playoffs. That's the one I think Sean Payton's got to be loving. We're going to play this thing to the end compared to last year. And I'm not sure we don't have to, but this is the way they should be doing it. This is playing out very well for New Orleans.
Well, that's a risky throw again made there by Drew Brees, who threw an interception at the goal line. Aaron Curry with a big hit there.
And as Sean Payton, it's that delicate balance between you're in total control of the game. You have some things obviously to accomplish. Drew Brees constantly pushing the envelope in terms of what we're about. We've talked about the players that aren't in the lineup, but you're right. You don't want to look sloppy either. You don't want to start forcing the ball in, turn the ball over in a way that leaves you at risk.
Devery Henderson was trying to come on the field. Brees turned around and said, get back to the sideline on this 3rd and 10. Blitz coming. They pick it up, and looking down the sideline, a one-hand attempt and a catch by Lance Moore.
What a spectacular one-handed grab. This is pretty. And this is not like a big receiver. This is just raw. You wake up with this ability right here. Total control, gets his feet in bounds, still has the presence of mind as he's going down to slide those feet along the sideline. That was impressive.
29-yard gain. Brees has thrown for 347 yards. They'll give it to Ivory. Led by a host of Seahawks. Maybe a 1-yard gain. Well, few players in the free agency era have made the impact that Brees has had on the Saints. Since 2006, after those 5 years in San Diego, Brees leads the NFL in passing yards, touchdown passes, attempts, completions, completion percentage. Today, a 34th game of over 300 passing yards. And of course, most importantly of all, since Brees arrived here, a franchise that outside of a year here or a year there was among the worst in the NFL. If he wins today, he'll be 45-28 as a starter with 2 trips to the NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl title a year ago.
Has there ever been a bigger free agent acquisition at the quarterback position?
I don't know if you can say any position, right?
Yeah. Reggie White maybe when he went up to Green Bay, but I tell you what, you wouldn't get much of an argument from me.
Good as he threw. And unable to hang on was Colston.
And let's keep in mind now, there were only 2 teams that were interested. And when it came down to it, only New Orleans. It came down to New Orleans and Miami. Miami's doctors decided it was too much of a risk because that was a serious injury. And Drew Brees, that's why the affection between Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Sean Payton took a chance on Drew Brees. Drew Brees understands that. That's why these 2 guys are attached at the hip. I think they were separated at birth as twins. There is no light between a quarterback and his head coach and who happens to be his play caller.
Garrett Hartley, a 27-yard field goal try. No good. All 4 of his misses, and now make it 5, have been wide left. Chip shot missed by Garrett Hartley. It remains a 34-16 game with New Orleans in front. 12:28 to go at the Superdome. Leon Washington out of the backfield, his first reception. Took a big hit from Tracy Porter, but a good pickup.
As we always say, 3 elements: snap, hold, kick. First 2 look pretty good. You never know about the hold, were the laces right, what was the angle, but none, this is all you got to do, son. Go in there and kick us touchdowns. Kick the extra point, kick the field goal.
It's amazing. Hartley. Well, we'll get back to him in a minute. Let's check in meanwhile with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
How about them Bucks in San Francisco? Tackle eligible play. Josh Freeman to the big man, Donald Penn. It's 21-0. Bucks in firm control, less than 7 minutes to go. They're trying to go to 7-3, Tom.
Tell you what, Brian. Kurt, Brian, tell you what, we talk so much about New Orleans, Atlanta, and I'm guilty as charged of continuing to overlook Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're right there,
Still 3rd down.
It's going to be interesting to see what gets in the NFC. Could 3 teams from the NFC South get in? Not likely. Been a while since that has happened, particularly in the NFC South. But Tampa Bay is keeping pace. They have had trouble when they've played these good teams, obviously in the big games, but they are keeping pace. Things are going right when a big old dude like that scores a touchdown. Life's good.
3rd down at 5. Brandon Stokely, whose father, of course, was a coach nearby, Louisiana Lafayette. And he's back healthy and having a nice game here today.
Seattle still has some pop about them. I like what I see here. They're in obviously, God bless the NFC West. 8-8 will likely win the division and go to the playoffs, so just be there at the end. There's a lot to play for this game. Not that they're out of it, but they've got a lot to go in this game, and right now they're showing a little bit of pop to themselves.
Hasselbeck has thrown for over 300 yards, and he does get down, wisely so. Before Jabari Greer or Scott Shanley or Lee Torrance had a chance to hit him. Hasselbeck has had another good game. I mean, that's another thing at least Seattle can build on. This is back-to-back 300-yard passing games for Hasselbeck.
Well, we've got to remember, this is a totally new system for him. For what he was under for years and years under the Mike Holmgren system, they extended it under Jim Mora.
Catch by Dion Butler. And of course, they're doing all this without Mike Williams, who will sit and watch the rest of the game with the injured foot.
And remember, they let Deion Branch go. Here, Mike Williams, you can see this was early. That was the big play early in the first quarter. Gets his left foot caught up. We thought it might have led to the hamstring. Clearly, that foot giving him problems. They let Deion Branch go. They like their young receivers. Mike Williams, not young, but obviously coming back. Butler, Golden Tate, he's not up today.
Intercepted. He had an eye on Baker, the tight end. But it's intercepted by Porter, his second pick of the year. The air is leaking out of that balloon quickly. Well, Pete Carroll challenging the call on the field. And we, of course, have the benefit during the commercial timeout to take a look. And it appears as though the interception was not caught.
Yeah, I think you can see that he throws it too far to the outside over Baker. And now as the ball comes down in, you're going to see just it gets through the hands, and right there, the ball's on the ground. Let's bring it back if we can. You can see the thing definitely bounce up into it. I probably, all right, like keep back. Stop right there. Okay, right there. You can see the ball is clearly coming out. It's on the ground. He did not have control of it. So Seattle cuts a break here. That was just a bad pass by Matt Hasselbeck. First, Baker's not that kind of a guy, but you got to bring that over the top of the linebacker. So they dodged a bullet here, I believe. We'll see. There again, this goes back to our conversation, Tom. We've seen this in the break. If you do away with the challenge system, the guy up in the booth will see that, can make that determination, tell the referee the ball hit the ground, let's get him back on the field and let's go. I've been ranting about this for a while, but it's different when we put this in 1999. Even then, our technology and our ability to orchestrate this has changed. We are so far ahead of the curve. I mean, go to the U.S. Open or any major tennis tournament. I mean, we can find within seconds the Hawkeye that tells you whether that to the millimeter as to whether the ball is in or out. We could certainly utilize this here, but I may be a little source sensitive given the way this replay system has cost my back pocket.
$75,000.
After review, the receiver did not complete control before the ball hit the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. Seattle is not charged a team timeout. It will be second down, 10 yards to go. New Orleans Saints 39-yard line. Please put 9:24 on the game clock. 9:24 on the game clock.
And real clear cut, as we showed you, the ball comes in. You can have simultaneous catch with the ground, but here he never has control. It hits the ground. It moves around. You can see that. Always just look at the laces. Clearly not a catch. And replay works. Don't get me wrong. I like the replay system. We just didn't need that delay in there. It was easy enough to see. Could have orchestrated it a lot faster. I'm off my soapbox now and ready to continue with the game.
I like when you're on your soapbox. So Seattle gets the football back. Justin Forsett for a yard. Let's bring in Mike Pereira from our Fox Command Center. Mike, what are your thoughts after listening to what Brian just had to say a moment ago in reference to replay?
I think I'm getting on his soapbox.
Whoa, wait a minute. I want to hear that again.
I know that shocks you, but I'm starting to agree. There's been so many challenges, so many more challenges this year. I think you got to look at expediting the process and let the guy upstairs think about him making the decision.
And I mean, you're hearing from a guy who knows more about this than anybody, and that's Mike Pereira, the longtime head of NFL officials. Mike, I'd be curious, just for the common fan at home, because even as a broadcaster with Fox, I'm not even sure about all of the layers, like trying to get a bill through Congress. You have your competition committee, you have your rules committee. You know, how would something about like that come about if indeed it did? What Brian is talking about and what you seem to be agreeing with. What would have to happen? What's the process?
It'd have to go to the competition committee, who would then take a look at this. And believe me, they've discussed this already, and they've begun, I think, to lean a little bit in that direction. You know, they've followed the college game, and it seems to work in the college game. Now, to me, you know, after being on this side of the fence, I kind of agree, too, because I really think that every time you stop it, you're talking about a 3-minute stop. And if they may have to elevate the status of that replay assistant a bit, but I think he can be run a little bit more efficiently if you just put it in his hands and let him make the decision.
All right, Mike, thank you very much.
Mike, and I got to tell you, I appreciate how much more insightful and intelligent you've gotten over the last year, because it just never ceased to amaze me how you continue to broaden your view of this.
Well, it's with your $75,000 in my back pocket that I've gotten a lot smarter.
You've gotten all you could. Now you can move on. Thanks, Mike.
You got it.
Hasselbeck before set. And that's a first down to the 5-yard line. Clock down to 7.5 to go.
And clearly we got 4 shots here. This is 4-down territory for Seattle. Got a man down. Getting either a breather or.
That's Will Smith. Well, we're going to come out and take a look at the big fella. And we will step out. First and goal when we return. Will Smith appears to be all right. Jeff Charleston checks in to replace him. First and goal for Seattle to 7. They're down 34-16.
As we said, this should be 4-down territory and probably a 2-point conversion should they score here.
Set. Spotted just outside the 3-yard line.
Without Mike Williams in the game, and again here Matt Hasselbeck doing just what he likes. He's orchestrating at the line. I'd be thinking about Brandon Stokely. That's kind of a go-to guy. Nope, drops the run in there.
To the 1. This for set.
And again, 4-down territory. So you're going to take 2 shots here. That dictates what you can. You're not afraid to go ahead and run it again. He's going to huddle up and now make the call. They tried to get a quick alignment and then ran the ball to see if they could get New Orleans to misalign. Leading up there with that left hurt hand, trying to shove it in there. That's giving it up for the cause there now with 2 broken bones in your hand.
For a set.
Great hit. Great defensive play.
Jonathan Vilma, Anthony Hargrove, and company.
Boy, that looked like it was going to slice it. I want you to watch the way Vilma and this group just come screaming in here to blow this up. Great transition from recognition to action. Now you got your 4th down. Oh, they're going to kick it. Boy, down by 18, 5:42, and you haven't even begun to slow down the New Orleans Saints.
It's going to be a 20-yard field goal try. To bring you within 15. Great aerial pictures today and now tonight provided by DirecTV. A 34-19 game, just under 5.5 to go, and you figure the onside kick is coming.
Yeah, it should. If you're going to kick the field goal, you're saying, okay, we'll bring it back to a 2-score differential. I'm thinking I can get the ball here. I'm running out of time. I can't imagine why you would kick a field goal and not onside kick here. That's obviously what they've aligned for.
Good kick by Murray. And the Seahawks got it. Lance Moore had a hand on it, but then all of a sudden it looked like Lawyer Maloya was the one who got it from there. That is the way you draw it up.
Great height. I want you to watch the height on the kick. We've talked about this before. The first wave, stop right there. The first wave is supposed to block out the first onslaught. This should be an easy catch right here. But the height of the kick allowed the seepage. Obviously, you got to come down with it. That certainly didn't hurt. And now you're in position to come up with the ball.
By the way, you saw the overall numbers from a success standpoint in the NFL, right around 16%. Don't tell that to Olindo Mare. In his career, he is 11 of 33.
Now here's what they're looking for. They may be discussing Lawyer Malloy. Was he the first to touch it? His foot was clearly out of bounds. If he was the first to touch it. Now I don't know, and I'm going to claim ignorance on this. The fact that the defender touched it first. You can't have first touching by Malloy, but it came off the New Orleans man. I believe
you
that
can reestablish yourself in bounds, though, right?
Correct. And it is not first touching. I probably need Mike Pereira in my back pocket here this time, but I believe this should hold up. That may be what they're discussing.
Here's Mike Carey.
Illegal touching by the kicking team. The player went out of bounds and did not reestablish before he touched the ball.
Well, now I don't know about that. Let's bring Mike Pereira in. I understand the ruling on it, but it sure looked like he established right here. We're going to see Lawyer Malloy's right there. He's out of bounds. Mike, you got to help me on this. Yeah, we're saying he didn't establish himself inside.
Just like coming back in is just like going back is going out. You've got to get both feet back down in the field of play before you touch the kick. He didn't. He got one foot down, didn't get that right foot down. So therefore, it makes it really an illegal touch, or even really, if you want to say, kickoff out of bounds.
Well, we got a love fest going here, Mike, because I agree with you 100% right there. That right foot is not reestablished coming back in.
Right.
I hate it when you're
almost
right,
does get reestablished. I know that's just what I'm so happy about is you've learned so much under my tutelage.
I have.
It's just a beautiful thing.
But that's a good call, obviously, in a critical situation. Now, if he'd have gotten both feet in, then this isn't first touching with regards to he's established himself and would have been okay. Now, if the ball had not come off Lance Moore, it's just flopping around there, could he still have jumped on it? That always confuses me.
He could have, if it comes off more, so he actually mucks the ball.
Touched by New Orleans, that's a legal touch. And then it was touched by a kicking team player who was out of bounds, did not reestablish, and touched the ball inbounds. That ball was last touched inbounds by the receiving team. Therefore, it's their ball at the out of bounds spot. First down.
Okay. He did a good job there, Mike. Can you top it?
I leave it all to Mike Carey. I mean, he's the vet. Boy, there's no way I could beat him on that.
But you're dressed better right now, so I'll give it to you. But okay, I think I got it now. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you so much.
You got it.
So at 5:24 left, Lawyer Malloy will play defense. As Breeze and the Saints will try and put this one on ice. And they're going to run it with Chris Ivory. And the ball is loose, and Seattle has it. That's Clemens. Or are they saying he was down?
Right now, Mike Carey is indicating he is down.
Clemens has had a nice year this year. They got him in a trade from Philadelphia, leads the team with 7.5 sacks.
And not a big guy, 240, 50 pounds, good rush, edge rusher. A lot of teams will challenge him and run at him at that open weak side.
I believe that Pete Carroll is challenged. Yes, he did, threw the flag there right before they were getting ready to snap the ball. He won his only challenge earlier in the game.
The ruling on the field is runner was down by contact is being challenged by Seattle.
Two elements to it. Contact and what was the recovery. We'll look at that when we come back, see if we can help sort it out.
Seattle challenging the call on the field, which said the runner was down before the ball came loose.
And from our indication, it looks like the elbow had gone down. Mike Carey's going to come out and tell us what he sees.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner's forearm hit the ground with complete control of the ball. Down by contact is correct. Seattle is charged with a team timeout, and they are out of challenges.
And you're going to see what Mike Carey saw here. Ivory comes down just as his elbow hits right there, right there. You can see the elbow is down. The ball is still in possession. At that point, you are down. Your elbow's down by contact. See the same thing coming in here from the other side. You're going to see as he goes down, that elbow hits the ground right there, and he still has control of the ball.
Second down and 7. And you got to believe run. A portion of handsome pass. Yeah, Julius Jones stays in bounds.
Working hard to stay in bounds. Good man.
A couple of his former teammates take him to the deck.
And these guys play on Thursday, so if I'm Sean Payton, I'm in control of the game. I want that clock to run as fast as I possibly can. That's why that pass surprised us a little bit, but nice job staying in bounds, recognizing Julius Jones did that we want that clock to run. The faster we can get this over, the quicker we can start resting up for a big Thursday tilt against the Dallas Cowboys.
So 3rd down and 3. Julius Jones will pick up the first down and then some. Going for the end zone. And he's run out of bounds at the 1, but a penalty flag all the way back in the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty and still 3rd down.
That's the All-Pro Jari Evans.
Yeah, that would have pretty much nailed it. The right guard right there. Jari Evans on the right side. We'll see where this shows up. Yeah, tough to see. He pleaded his case. We could certainly see that. Had to be some infighting. Had to have a hold of maybe some jersey. Now we'll see what the Saints want to do. If they're going to want the clock to crank down, they'll run a draw. And right here, Evans, you can see just enough of that. Yeah, couldn't get rid of that jersey, that hold of that tug right there. Mike Carey looking right at it, immediately threw the flag.
And now another stoppage in play as New Orleans calls a timeout before 3rd and 14. The play clock is down to 1.
Well, you trust Drew Brees to make the right throw here, but I'm not sure they won't run a draw just to bring the time down.
Each quarterback has thrown for 355 yards. But Brees has thrown 4 touchdowns. Colston a couple of scores. Robert Meacham a couple of touchdown receptions. And Chris Ivory has run for 95 yards. 5 yards shy of his second career 100-yard rushing game.
And the Saints did to Seattle what the Saints do. They just keep putting pressure on you. You score a field goal, they score a touchdown. You go down and score another field goal, they score another touchdown. Constantly putting pressure on you to have to step up and match that.
Third down catch. Good enough for a first down to the 31-yard line against Marcus Colston.
I believe we may have seen our last pass of the day, providing New Orleans holds on. Classic 4-minute offense now. You're going to see Zach Strief come in, number 64, where he becomes the extra tight end. Colston right here is going to drag himself across the middle. That big target had to bring pressure. Look how high he throws that ball and allows Colston to come down with it. Nice to have a big target. It'll be pound, pound, pound right now.
Julius Jones. Loss of the yard. Let's go to Los Angeles for a game break.
Down 31-28. Peyton Manning trying to lead the Colts to at least a tie, but picked off by James Sanders of New England. 3rd pick of the day for Manning, and the Patriots get the win 31-28. They're now 8-2 on the year. Tom and Brian?
Boy, those just seem to be automatic classics the minute you see it on the schedule. New England and Indianapolis. What great battles.
So you take a look ahead at what's up next for the New Orleans Saints. Talked about having a short work week right here on Fox on Thanksgiving Day. They'll be in Dallas. Following week they will go to Cincinnati. Two very winnable games. Then you have the Rams here at home, and then you talk about a couple of back-to-back road games. The Saints go to Baltimore and they go to Atlanta.
Yeah. And the way these two teams are going, that you know that those games are going to be relevant. And how great is that?
The Galloping Gobblers, some of the past winners in recent years. Well, that's a who's who, including Julius Jones in 04. Then with Dallas.
Look at this. Boy, back to the future, huh? Michael Vick, the way he's playing. See his name surface among the top players in the league right now. Interesting storyline. It'll be interesting to see what Philly does at the end of the year in terms of Vick. And they got Kevin Cobb, and do you keep both? Do you trade one off?
2:54 to play here in New Orleans.
No, I got contact.
Boy, this has gotten ugly in a hurry.
Well, that focus. There's a lot of things that can rob your focus. Clearly the pressure late in the game. Now they had to throw the ball here or try on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 5.
Encroachment, defense number 59, 5-yard penalty, still third.
Does this put this back now into where you might want to drop a run in there? Drew Brees, little inflection there. Just the head-to-head contact on the inside. Drew Brees as good as anybody at drawing people off sides. This might put it back into the run category now.
There's Julius Jones in the backfield. Well, they're going to throw it. Pretty nifty footwork right there by the tight end Torrey Humphrey. And that's the first down. And you can put this baby to bed.
Yeah, 2:43. They've got no timeouts left, obviously. And if it's a run situation, you're just going to see a down, and now you're going to see him out. Just a little pick route there. A little simple boot and waggle. Gives the quarterback complete vision. Doesn't have to throw it in the middle of the field. Possible interception. Good play call.
Well, the records continue to fall for Drew Brees seemingly every game. He's just tied Aaron Brooks for second most pass attempts in Saints history. Archie Manning number 1. About 600 more to go, and Brees will get there for sure. And that carry by Ivory will take us to the 2-minute warning. Saints will go to 7-3. All Saints here today. Chris Ivory on a 2nd down run. Bottled up in the line of scrimmage. Well, when this day began for Pete Carroll, a reunion, of course, with Reggie Bush. The two having a chance to get together since their days at USC. Lots of smiles, optimism for the first-year Seahawks head coach, but you start to see the lines and the stress, the wear and tear. You've been down that road, Brian Billick.
He's gotten grayer, hasn't he, since the beginning of the game? Seems like there's a few more gray hairs on there.
Where are your gray hairs? You don't have many.
Well, I've either got a very good barber or it's growing back the right color being up here in the booth. I got more answers up here in the booth. Saints.
I can only imagine, not to interrupt you, but when you travel the miles that a team like Seattle has to travel every year, I mean, I can't imagine what it must be like for the head coach and the assistants, because they're the ones that are going to be working all night during the week. what it's like by the time you get back to Seattle after a game from here.
And there's many a time when you go right to the office, try to get a little nap in there and start right up. I know that's what's going to happen with New Orleans on the short week. They're going to have a short time to appreciate this.
Saints are going to call a timeout. Well, we talked about their schedule and the way it looks for the remainder of the season. Back-to-back road games, Thanksgiving here on Fox and at Cincinnati, and a game at home against St. Louis before two big ones against your former team, Brian Billick. A huge divisional matchup in Atlanta, and then what could turn out to be an equally huge game at home against Tampa Bay to end the year.
Absolutely. This stretch right here, I love what the league's doing, because we're not going to get to teams putting people down and not playing the last game or two. It's going to go down to the end.
Meanwhile, for Seattle, back-to-back home games following these back-to-back road games. Then you go to San Francisco, Atlanta at home, at Tampa Bay, and you finish the year at home against St. Louis.
Yeah, not an easy stretch for them, and that St. Louis game could very well come down for the NFC West Championship.
Fourth down, they're going to throw it. And it's intercepted by Earl Thomas, and that'll be his 5th interception of the year, which ties him with Michael Boulware for a Seattle rookie record of 5 interceptions. Boulware did it in 2004.
Well, obviously a couple shots here. This part of the game scares you to death as a coach. It's just at this point, let's not get anybody hurt. Let's be smart about it. We're on a short week. I'm talking about New Orleans now. Seattle, obviously, a long trip back to Seattle. Drew Brees, you know, yeah, you got to love the guy. 34-19. There's still more out on the field. Still more you want to do.
Well, it should be the game's final play on the completed pass to Stokely. Clock continues to run, and Hasselbeck pulls off the chin strap, and that's out. So the Saints go to 7-3. 83% of the time, a team that starts 7-3 goes to the playoffs. We'll be back with more from the Superdome in a moment.